Open the file. The myth is that breaking a bad habit is simple. Just remove the temptation, get the cue out of sight, and the habit starves. The truth is that this works beautifully for weak or new temptations and quietly fails on the deep ones, where the strategy that actually helped was the opposite of avoidance, watching the cue on purpose. This episode breaks down bad habit control with a real study instead of a slogan.
Here's the version everyone repeats. A bad habit runs on a trigger, so kill the trigger. Don't keep cookies in the house. Delete the app. Out of sight, out of mind. And this advice isn't wrong, it's just incomplete. It works great for things you haven't done 1,000 times. The problem is the habits that actually bother you, the automatic ones, are precisely the ones you've done 1,000 times. Those don't live in the cookie jar. They live in your memory, wired as a link between a cue and a response. And you can't throw memory out. You can't quit having hands or stress or a phone in your pocket. So just avoid the cue runs out of road exactly where you need it most.
Here's the evidence, because there's a specific study here, not a vibe. In 2010, Jeffrey Quinn, Anthony Pascoe, Wendy Wood, and David Neal published a paper in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin with a blunt title, Can't Control Yourself, Monitor Those Bad Habits. Quinn, Pascoe, Wood, and Neal, 2010. They wanted to know what people actually do in real life when they try to stop a habit, and which of those moves actually works. Here's how they did it, and the design matters. This was a diary study, sometimes called experience sampling, not a controlled experiment. No treatment group, no control group, no random assignment. Instead, they had people record their own behavior as it happened across ordinary days, trying to resist everyday unwanted behaviors, the snacking, swearing, nail-biting kind. Then they sorted those behaviors by how strong the habit was, and sorted the strategies people reached for. They ran it as 2 studies, so the pattern showed up more than once. 2 strategies matter for us. One is stimulus control, change the situation so the trigger never appears. Avoid the cue, remove the temptation. The other is vigilant monitoring, stay alert and watch for the slip. The mental posture of don't do it, watch carefully, catch it the moment it starts. You don't remove the trigger, you keep your eye on it. Here's the finding, the 2 strategies worked on different problems. For fresh temptations, pulls you don't have a deep habit around, stimulus control did the job. But for the strong, established habits, stimulus control fell short, and vigilant monitoring was the strategy that actually tracked with success. Watching beat avoiding, precisely where avoiding stopped working. And a follow-up experiment pointed at why. Monitoring didn't weaken the habit's memory trace, that trace is slow to change. It helped by sharpening the inhibitory control that catches the response after the cue fires, but before you act.
The one-page version of this, plus the behavior selector and the if-then builder, is in a free PDF called the Habit Lab Starter Kit. The link's in the description. So what's actually true? The viral version says, to break a bad habit, just remove the temptation and rely on willpower. The evidence points somewhere narrower and more useful. For a strong habit, you usually can't remove the cue, so the only place left to intervene is the gap, the half-second after the cue fires and before you act. Vigilant monitoring occupies that gap. And notice what it is not. It is not willpower, not grinding your teeth and wanting it more. It's a small, specific act of attention, noticing the trigger and the urge in the moment they show up. Cheap, repeatable, and it works right where brute force and just avoid it both give out. Now the honest limit, and it's the important one. This is a diary, experience sampling study, not a randomized trial. So it shows which strategies went together with resisting bad habits in real life. A strong, real-world signal. But it can't prove on its own that monitoring caused the success. Maybe people already more in control were also the ones who monitored. The result held across 2 studies and fits the broader habit science, which makes the direction worth taking seriously, but treat it as a well-supported signal, not a verdict. And one guardrail, this is for everyday habits. If what you're fighting is a compulsion or a dependence, watch it more carefully. Is the wrong tool, please talk to a licensed professional. Results vary. That's the truth. So here's the protocol, name it and watch it. 3 moves. First, pick one bad habit, the one that most often pulls you off track, and name it out loud. You can't catch a habit you haven't named. Second, map its cue. When does it fire? What time? What place? What emotion? What action comes right before? You're hunting the trigger, not the behavior. Third, write a vigilant script. The exact short phrase you'll say to yourself the instant the cue appears. There's the trigger, don't do it. Plain and fast so the cue itself can pull it up, the same way it pulls up the habit. Then watch and log. Keep a slip log. Every time the cue shows up, run your script and make a tally. Did the cue appear and did you catch it? No shame, just data. And here's the win, because it isn't a perfect record. The win is your catch rate climbing, catching more of the cues as the week goes on, because you're finally watching for them instead of getting ambushed. Early on, you'll notice slips after they happen. That still counts. As the week goes, the catch moves earlier until you spot the cue before the habit runs. That shift is the whole skill. If you want the one-page protocol, grab the free Habit Lab starter kit linked in the description, the behavior selector, the if-then builder, and this slip log in one place. And if you want all 12 weeks in order, the full book, the 12-week Habit Lab, is on Amazon. Open the file, name the cue, and watch it.